All right, so let's go ahead and cover data scientist profiles, their education background, experience, employment, and tech as well. And because essentially we can get this data from multiple sources and there are so many kind of unlimited opinions and options available out there, I found the best source to kind of cover essentially these topics is through Kaggle website. And essentially, Kaggle conducts an annual survey to report the current state of data science, machine learning, and AI in general. And it covers the data scientist profile, salary, education, technology, and experience as well. I've included a link here to the report, and I've included a couple of highlights as well from the report. So let me go through the highlights first, and then I'm going to show you guys a couple of samples from the data science report by Kaggle. The first key highlight is, well, it's becoming more common to be employed as a data scientist without having an advanced degree. Although advanced degrees are still the norm, almost 64% of data scientists that have been included in the survey has at least master's or PhD. And I actually get this question a lot. Do I really need a PhD to work as a data scientist? Well, based on that survey, you don't have to. However, most of people out there, almost 64%, this is kind of the norm, still have an advanced degree. However, this is changing over time. And then I'm going to show you guys that with data coming up in the report. The second point is companies in the US are most likely to pay above six figures. And that's, of course, great. The next one is Jupyter-based IDEs. Or notebooks are the go-to tool for data scientists, and with around 3 out of 4 of Kaggle data scientists are using it, and that's why we plan to use this throughout our course. And then the most commonly used algorithms were linear and logistic regression, followed by decision trees and random forest. So you don't really need fancy deep neural network algorithms essentially in the real world. Most of data scientists are actually using linear and logistic regression algorithms followed by decision trees. The next one is Scikit-learn library is kind of the Swiss arm knife library applicable to most projects. And with over 80% of data scientists are actually using it. And that's why we plan to leverage Scikit-learn quite a bit in this course as well. And then finally, Amazon SageMaker was by far the most popular choice for essentially tools available in the cloud compared to Azure and Google as well platforms. And this is essentially, again, the key highlights that were available in the report. Let me show you guys a sample of the report. All right, so let me highlight a couple of areas here in the State of Machine Learning and Data Science report by Kaggle. So as I mentioned, there are 5 categories within that report. They are covering data scientist profile, education, the machine learning and data science expertise. They also cover the employment and technology as well. So let's go ahead and cover the first area. Please note that this survey has been conducted after interviewing or asking 25,000 data scientists and machine learning engineers. And if you guys scroll to the bottom here, there are many slides, but let's focus first on the data scientist profile. So data science basically is still suffering a large gender gap. So around 82.2% of respondents were actually male, kind of classified as male, and 16.2 were women. And when it comes to the gender, it doesn't look like there has been meaningful change over the years. So you would notice that here the progress from 2017 up until 2021 was pretty much the same. So there wasn't still progress as we speak as of 2021. When it comes to the age, generally the data scientist essentially profile is generally young, towards the younger population. So most of the data scientists were between the age of 22 and 34. And when it comes to the country, here we have, these are the other countries basically available, around, I would say 40% of respondents. And then the next largest one was India and US, and then followed by Brazil, Russia, UK, France, and so on. Here you will notice again, the different countries. So other is around 40.3%. And then India was one of the top ones at 24.4%. We also have US at 12.2%, Brazil 4.3%, Russia, and so on. And that simply concludes the profile for data scientists in general. When it comes to the education, and again, I get that question a lot by many of the students, essentially here, most of the respondents actually had advanced degrees, like a master's or PhD degrees, but please don't get discouraged. This is actually changing. So you'll notice here that the percentage of data scientists only having bachelor's degrees actually increasing over time. So here, this is the 2017 timeframe, and up until 2021, actually, this has been growing over time. And I've experienced that as well a lot, that many people only with bachelor's degree could become data scientists. And of course, here I have the master's degree and the doctoral degree as well, kind of accounts for around 64% who have advanced degrees working as data scientists. Okay, when it comes to ongoing learning, there are many sources available out there. The top one here, based on the survey, is Coursera, followed by Kaggle-learn courses, and then Udemy, and then some university degrees, Udacity, and so on. And you will notice here, when it comes to popularity, apparently the Kaggle-learn courses are actually growing quite a bit. Also, you will note there has been growth as well for Udemy over the years from 2018 up until 2021. Okay, so the next category is into data science and machine learning experience. And when it comes to the programming experience, you will notice that actually a lot of people in the survey, actually they tend to have quite a bit of experience when it comes to the programming here. And you will notice that as well, that a lot of them only have maybe 1 year of experience or maybe 1 to 3 years of experience. And the dark blue here indicates the global, and the light blue indicates people in the US. And when it comes to the machine learning experience, you will notice that actually a lot of people who have been surveyed, they don't have a lot of machine learning expertise. Maybe they have under 1 year or perhaps 1 to 2 years of experience when it comes to machine learning. The next one is when it comes to employment and when it comes to pay. And here you will notice that according to the survey, a lot of data scientists in the US are getting paid $100,000 or more. That's of course not the case, unfortunately, in India. And there are kind of trends regionally that India, around 90% of data scientists in India make less than 50,000 USD per year. And these are kind of the distribution here for global salaries. So you'll notice that people who make between 100,000 and 124,000 in that survey is around 5.9% approximately. And if you scroll to the bottom here, you will see the salary distribution in the US versus India. So you notice that again, most data scientists in the US are making $100,000 or more. And of course, that's unfortunately a little bit rare when it comes to India. Very few makes this kind of money. When it comes to the countries and pay, you will notice that the US here in 2020, a lot of people are actually making between 125,000 to 149,000. And that actually increased from 2020 to 2021. Now, a lot of people are making between 150,000 USD and almost 200,000 USD, followed by Germany, and then Japan, and then Russia, Brazil, and India at the end. When it comes to companies employing data scientists, well, you will notice that a lot of data scientists are actually working for startups or maybe smaller companies. So here between 0 and 49 employees, around 34.9% of respondents. And here for people working for kind of a little bit intermediate companies between 50 and 249 employees, around 15.7%. Okay. All right, so when it comes to the data science teams, again, there are so many details in here. I just wanted to highlight the key important ones. You will notice that a lot of data scientist teams are actually quite smaller teams, essentially. So here we have only zero people. Here we have 1 to 2 data scientist teams, 3 to 4. And here we have 20 plus, okay? So around 22%, these are the people who are working in data science teams of 20 plus individuals. When it comes to spending, not a lot of companies are actually making a lot of spending when it comes to data science here. around 15 plus 4.6, let's say around 20% are actually not spending money at all on cloud computing products specifically. And here you will notice that around 26.7% of respondents are actually spending at least $100,000 or more. And of course, you will notice that this is mostly in the US as well, which is coming up next in here. So here you will notice that mostly in the US, and that's the light gray here, this is kind of most of the spending of companies for at least $100,000 or more are mostly in the US. All right, so what about the technology? Well, when it comes to the IDE popularity or interactive development environment, Jupyter notebooks are one of the most popular ones. And of course, that's why we plan to use Jupyter notebooks in pretty much all the course content. And there is also followed by Visual Studio Code or VS Code. And there is also Jupyter Labs, PyCharm, RStudio, and so on. When it comes to top IDE popularity over the years, you will notice that the VS Code is actually continuing to gain popularity here. And you will notice that Jupyter Labs pretty much steady across the years. When it comes to methods and algorithms, you will notice that linear and logistic regression, kind of the basic algorithms, are actually kind of the most common ones, okay? And that kind of a proof to you that you don't need like really fancy advanced deep learning algorithms. You can actually just get by with Scikit-learn library and just using simple decision trees, gradient boosting algorithms, and linear and logistic regression. And that's why in this course, we plan to focus mostly on these algorithms as well. When it comes to methods and algorithms popularity as well, you will notice that there has been quite a progress when it comes to transform networks and transformers such as like BERT, GPT-3. We also have DALL-E. These are kind of the new wish, basically, machine learning algorithms started around 2017, 2018 timeframe, and they have been doing incredibly well. And that's why you will see that growth in here. And you will notice that essentially gradient boosted trees is kind of pretty much steady across the years, similar to convolution neural networks, maybe slowing down a little bit as well. When it comes to machine learning frameworks, Scikit-learn is kind of the top one. And that's again why we plan to focus on Scikit-learn in this course. And then when it comes to various frameworks, you will notice that Scikit-learn is pretty much steady across the years. There is some, I would say, here, famous ones such as Keras, XGBoost, TensorFlow, and so on. When it comes to enterprise cloud computing, you will notice that AWS is one of the most popular one compared to Google and Microsoft Azure. And when it comes to enterprise cloud computing, as I mentioned here, because most of companies, a lot of them are actually leveraging AWS, you will notice that one of the most common service is Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud or EC2. And of course, this is offered by AWS. And when it comes to enterprise cloud computing services, you will notice that Amazon S3 or Simple Storage Service is one of the most common ones as well. When it comes to enterprise machine learning tools, you will notice that Amazon SageMaker stands around 15.6%, and that's kind of the most famous ones. And if you guys are interested in learning more, I have many courses on Amazon SageMaker available as well on Udemy. When it comes to enterprise big data, you will notice that MySQL is kind of the most famous database, followed by a couple of the MongoDB and so on. And when it comes to machine learning experiments, TensorBoard is one of the most famous ones, followed by MLflow and weights and biases as well. When it comes to automated machine learning, you will notice that Google Cloud AutoML is actually one of the most famous ones, followed by Azure and Amazon SageMaker Autopilot. And here you will notice that over the years, adoption of Google's Cloud ML technology has been growing steadily over the years. And then you will notice here that TPUs or tensor processing units have been increasing quite a bit. And these are essentially compute platforms that are dedicated for training AI and ML models and neural networks in general. And that's pretty much it. That's all I have for this lesson. I hope you guys enjoyed it and see you in the next lesson.